Hey guys, so this is a story time with my dad about my mother's passing, and I guess I'm just gonna go off of, I don't know, what we felt at the time, or what was going through our minds. I know I was 3 years old, so I probably won't have much to say about it, but yeah, if you guys are wondering what's on my lips, it is this NYX Ombre Lip Duo, and it's in the color Cookies and Cream. This is my dad, Reverend Green.
Hi.
um, so yeah, do you want to start with how you felt?
Well, being with her when she was sick and going through the night, trying to assist her in her pain and um, whatever what was going on in the situation, and to wake up the next morning and found out that she had passed, um, it was devastating, devastating, and the hurt don't leave right away. It's been some years, and I still think about it, but you you somehow, with the help of God, keep on keeping on.
Oh yeah, it's been 20 years since my mom has passed. I was 3, I'm 23 now. So yeah, it's been exactly 20 years. Um, like I said, my brother was 6 months. He was just born in June on the 8th, in 1996. Um, it was, yeah, it was a rough time. I didn't really understand, but I don't know. Somehow I did have some type of understanding that she wasn't coming back. I just remember her and my dad cooking together in the kitchen, and I remember, how kids normally um they normally come up to their parents when their parents has their food and they're about to eat off their parents' plates. Well, that's what I was doing. That's what I remember. I remember I was standing next to her and she was sitting on the leather love seat in our house. It was the leather love seat, and I remember I was standing next to her, and I remember her calling for my dad to bring her medication so that she could take it along with her food. I don't know what she was taking or what medication she was taking and why she was taking it, but I do remember her asking him to bring her medicine and some orange juice. And he brought her medicine. I remember her her taking it, and then I remember she was trying to kind of mixing her food together, and I remember out of nowhere, like I think she had took a couple of bites of her food, and out of nowhere, she just started to throw up. So I'm young. I'm like, what the heck? What is going on? And I'm not understanding this. I'm looking around like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I'm just looking at her, just throwing up. Like, what is going on? So I remember her saying, grab mommy something to throw up in. Grab mommy something, baby. Okay. And so I was like, the first thing I could think of, like, I ran and grabbed I remember I grabbed a candy cane box because we had just decorated the tree. It was December 13th. We had just decorated our Christmas tree, and we had the empty boxes of um, candy cane boxes in front of the tree still because we had just got done. So that's the first thing I went to grab. It's the first thing I could grab was a candy cane box, and I remember her throwing up in the candy cane box, and I remember her calling for my dad, and my dad came in and he ran in and he was next to her and rubbing her back and stuff like that, and I just remember not really understanding what was going on, trying to figure out like what's wrong with mommy. That's really what was going through my head. Um, I didn't know that she was literally like dying in front of my eyes. Like I didn't understand that she was literally dying. Um, I just remember um after a while my dad he had I don't remember who you had called Bonnie, but
Sister Moore.
you called Aunt told somebody to call Aunt Bonnie and tell them to come over. And I remember Aunt Bonnie coming in, and she she came, her, Lisa, and I think it was Bob had came. And I remember Bonnie telling Lisa, take the kids upstairs. So Lisa took us upstairs, but we weren't like all the way like out of the view of the situation. I know I went like halfway up the steps, but I was still where I could see through the banister of the staircase, and I was watching everything, and it was as it was happening. And I remember Bonnie telling Bob, call the ambulance, call 911, call 911. And I remember just watching. My dad was holding my mom, he was rubbing her back, and um I just remember she was leaning on him. He was still rubbing her back. The ambulance finally came because we live right down the street from the fire department. Like literally, like I could walk maybe 20 or 50, 20 or 30 steps, and I'm right there at the fire department. So it was right there down the street. And I remember the fire department came. She was still on leaning on to my dad, but I remember as I was looking at her, her color changed from like vibrant and like mine to just pale. She looked really pale. And I remember my dad, he just held her and he was rocking her. And the next thing you know, like I looked at Lisa, and I was kind of like trying to figure out in my head like what's wrong with mommy, like what's wrong. And then I remember as I looked back, they had actually lifted my mom up, and they had already had her on the gurney in the black bag, and they were, as I looked down at them, they were literally zipping her up in the black bag. And my mom was, I could no longer see my mom. I was wondering where she was at, but I I don't know. I kind of got some understanding that she was in that bag because I seen her face before they zipped it up. So I remember I turned to Lisa and I asked her, is mommy coming back? And she shook her head no. And I kind of got an understanding like, okay, mommy's not coming back. But am I going to be able to see her? What? I don't understand it. I know mommy's not coming back, but why is she not coming back? So I remember them taking her out of the house. I remember a social worker. She was a Caucasian lady. She had blonde hair, and she had her hair was cut in like a bowl shape type cut. She had blonde hair. She wore glasses. She was kind of a hefty type of woman. I remember she had on a white shirt, and she had on like a kind of like a dress suit. It was kind of like grayish, tan or brown type color. But I remember her there when after they took my mom out. I remember my dad was standing there and talking to her, and that's pretty much all I remember from that point. I don't remember anything else. But Dad, what?
Well, what I had learned, I was at work earlier, and that the day, and come to find out that she had already been to the hospital once. They took X-rays, and they did not tell us that they had taken X-ray. The one doctor did not tell the other doctor, so they hadn't conferred with what's going on. So actually, one of the nurses, the head nurse there, thought my wife was a drug user, and she made the statement that she's all right. She's just high on those drugs, and they use cocaine. I learned that about that statement a little bit later, but they had not given her the proper meds, and because one doctor had not conferred with her doctor who examined her, they did not. There was not a diagnosis, a proper diagnosis of her condition, and what had happened was that her um, uh, bowel had broken, and she was gangrenous, which her bowel had poisoned her system,